Your soul hath appetite.
It's priceless.
Your soul doesn't count calories or carbs or fat grams or sodium levels. It knows nothing about fiber intake or the hazards of dairy products or triglycerides. But your soul is thirsting for the living God.
Right now, I'm so thirsty.
There were a lot of battles fought by God's people in the Old Testament. Israel had to fight for everything that came to her. But God was her God.
No matter what.
And she fought the Hittites and Hivites and Canaanites, Jebusites, all the ites. She fought all of those people.
Every last tribe.
I think probably one of the greatest battles that was ever fought in the Old Testament is found in the Song of Solomon, chapter 5.
Yes, sir.
The Song of Solomon is an allegorical book.
Yes,
sir. It seems to tell a love story of God's relationship with His people. Some of it's a little graphic.
Yes, sir.
Some of the Song of Solomon you probably wouldn't read to your grandchildren as a bedtime story because it's a love story. And so in chapter 5 and verse 2, the story background is here is a woman who has gone to bed for the night.
Yeah.
She has her night clothes on, her shoes are off, her children are in bed.
Yeah.
She is snuggled down under grandma's favorite quilt. She's in that Rhema mode of sleep with a huge do not disturb sign on the door.
Amen.
And then the one thing that you don't want to happen at night while you're sleeping happens. And in verse 2 of chapter 5, she said, I sleep, but my heart waketh.
My heart's awake.
I'm out. I'm comfortable. I don't want to move, but inside of me,
My heart is awake.
something is being stirred. It is the voice of my beloved.
That's Jesus.
The one that means most to me is standing at the door, and he is trying to get my attention. But she's fighting this battle. Her conscience she's out, she's asleep, but her subconscious is trying to shake her and say, you know, everything that you want is at the door, but you gotta wake yourself.
Wake up.
You gotta go for it.
Do it.
You gotta bring yourself to a place where you can partake of it.
Come alive.
So she's talking, and then she's saying, I can't get up. I'm comfortable. My children are asleep. I don't want to come up. She's having this battle between her conscious and her subconscious, a lot like the battle that Jesus fought in Gethsemane of the flesh against the spirit. I sleep, but there's an eternal part of me
Is awake.
that is trying to get me out of bed.
Is awake.
I wonder if I'm preaching to some family this morning and the Holy Ghost is trying to get you out of bed today.
Wake up.
The Holy Ghost is trying to tell you, you know what, I am everything that you need. I have everything you need. Finally, she gets up. She rushes to the door. She opened the door, but the Bible said her beloved had withdrawn himself from her. She ran throughout the streets of the city looking for him and going from one person to another, describing her beloved, but she couldn't find him, and the people thought she was a little nutty. And I think that is so unfortunate
Oh God.
that God would expend that much energy,
My Lord.
and she missed it.
Oh God, Jesus.
I don't want to miss it, Brother Purchase.
I never want to
I can't afford to miss
him.
the touch of God.
I cannot afford to.
Some of you have probably seen the old painting of Jesus standing outside a door with his fist raised, knocking on the door. It was one artist's conception of Revelation chapter 3 and verse 20, where he said, Behold, I stand at the door and knock. If any man will hear my voice and open the door, I will come into him and sup with him and he with me. And the story goes that there was a little boy standing with his daddy in a museum where that painting was hanging. And the little fellow stared at that painting for a long time. And then in a little bit he pulled at his dad's pants leg and he asked, Daddy, did anybody let him in?
Oh God.
That's the real question for us.
Have we let him in?
Does he have an exalted position in our life?
Jesus.
Does he have a special place in my life?
He can sit.
I know there's room at the cross for me, the old song says, but is there room in my life for him? That's a more important question. Psalm chapter 17, verse 15. As for me, I will behold thy face in righteousness. I shall be satisfied when I awaken with thy likeness. When I awaken with thy likeness.
Amen.
Would you stand with me, please?
Oh my God.
I won't be satisfied with less.
I will not know.
And if it takes things to satisfy you, you'll never be satisfied.
That's right. Amen.
Your car will never be long enough. Your house will never be big enough. Your bank account will never be full enough. But if the only thing it takes to satisfy you is Him, you will always be full. You will always be full. Praise God. Father, in the name of the Lord Jesus Christ, I stand here at this holy place. I feel like that your touch has settled upon us here. From the very outset of this service, you have woven your way through our hearts and our minds. You know the intimate details of every life that is here today. You know the intimate details of every soul of every family.
Oh my God, Jesus.
I pray that you will empower us to realize that our soul will be satisfied with nothing less than you. In Jesus' name. I don't know what your Sunday morning custom is. But as for me, every good thing that's ever come my way, I have found at the altar. I met my wife at an altar. I dedicated my sons and grandchildren at an altar. God sped me at an altar. It was at an altar 54 years ago as an 8-year-old boy in the tabernacle at Tioga when God filled me with the Holy Ghost. So, would you, if you feel comfortable to move toward the altar, if you're a guest, you're invited to be a part of our prayer. we're going to all meet here for the same reason.